This is Creso, and I'm here for part 11 of the Human Journal. This journal, I'm going to talk a lot about my feelings these days, basically what I believe in, especially I go online. I'm in the process of creating my website. I go on Twitter. I don't go to too many other places on the website, not too much, but just talk about my past a little bit. Like, for example, I'm going to talk a little bit about the church that I was part of. It's not going to be so much about religion, but I just wanted to use something as an example. But basically, the theme of this journal is basically, I guess I could say that the feeling, or maybe I come across as I guess I come across as radical or rogue. I mentioned that in my other journal clips, or black sheep. I felt these feelings before in the past. I remember, I'm going to get to my experience in the church a bit, but again, I'm not going to really talk about religion in a sense as the meat of this journal. So, when I was part of the Christian church, and when I started seeing a lot of, I was starting to see a lot of corruption in that church, in that congregation. I questioned a lot of things, but when I start seeing, like, for example, ministers and deacons and all that, and how a lot of politics, and when it was just using there's basically lust for power over other people. A lot of stuff that I was seeing in the church, I wanted to basically bring the church down, basically. Meaning that I wanted to inform the members of the church about the money and all that, where the money was going, all that. And a lot of stuff that I was starting to pick up very quickly. I felt a lot of people in the church, was basically in denial, or just basically don't want to believe the situation what was going on. But there was only a few people, maybe I could remember, that understood and see what I see. And basically, I wanted to go. Basically, I was thinking about going on stage. I remember one church service, I wanted to go on stage and basically make an announcement. Obviously, it wasn't planned in terms of the regular church service, but what I wanted to do, I just wanted to basically bring the leadership down. Obviously, I wasn't really crazy about the ideas of leadership, meaning people at certain high position above other people. I realized looking back, I never was really a fan of that. And when I wanted to go on stage and basically give everybody heads up about what really goes on in church, I'll never forget this person. Basically, she told me that, don't do it, it's not a good idea. She was talking about the security. I told her I don't really care about security. That don't concerns me at all. I wanted to go about it, but things do happen for a reason. I didn't go forward with it, but I just went by my heart. I sensed something pretty deep about that whole congregation. A few years later, the jig was up. A lot of stuff hit the fan in that church, and the church basically broke apart. A lot of stuff was exposed after a while, and it wasn't my doing directly. I guess in spirit, I was involved. But the church, everything kind of broke apart. So I wasn't surprised at all. The stuff that I was basically stuff that I wanted to give people heads up, basically, again, things just hit the fan. People just basically saw what was really going on. So and again, I think that was like a few years later. I think 2 years later or something like that. So Anyway, the thing that I've been wanting to do, the thing I wanted to do online basically is, I basically inspired people. That's my thing. I inspire everybody, and because I'm looking back now, and basically I reconnect who I am, and everything became more clear. And my purpose is basically to build people up, to inspire everybody, and yeah, a lot of stuff that where I'm at now, basically, I don't know how to explain it well, so I'm just being open and honest in this journal. So anyway, a lot of stuff that I believe or what I envision, okay, is going to basically conflict with a lot of traditions that a lot of us hold up. I guess I'm basically radical on all fronts, between politics, religion, everything you can think of, parenting, everything, education, all that. And I see a lot of stuff within a lot of society throughout this world. I haven't traveled around the world though, but I talk to a lot of people from different parts of the world, and I pretty much have a strong feeling about different stuff that goes on. There's common ground and situations in different parts, of the world, especially when it comes to politics and other stuff. But yeah, a lot of stuff that I do believe in basically is like, all I'm doing is that I just want to inspire everyone to unlock the power that's within. Because we all of us are power, and that's all I'm doing is just, again, I'm just inspiring everybody to basically unlock or rediscover the power that's within you. And a lot of stuff that I believe, yeah, I guess to a lot of people, I guess I could be very, very, very radical. I do believe in equality. Every single being around this world is equal because we're consciousness. But I understand a lot of ideas, a lot of traditional ideas don't really support the things that I talk about. And sometimes, when I was to go back in the church, I really did felt like a black sheep. A lot of stuff that I believe, or where I was at, yeah, I did felt that way. I held my own though. I wasn't begging for allies and stuff like that, and I held my own. It's because I believe in myself. My close friend of mine's recently told me that she said, Crystal, you have a fighting spirit, and I said, yeah, I was just listening to her. I really don't want to be a freedom fighter. I've seen enough of that story already. I just want the thing with me is that I'm just focusing on, let's just say, the end game, or let's just say I'm all about revolutionizing humanity, because what I envision people evolved, and so yeah, I'm going to talk about things that basically inspire people to basically open themselves up to break free of these ideas. I know very, very well that, again, a lot of the stuff, tradition, that we follow, mean, just some of the stuff I got to talk about. So many, I know, I always talk about these things, religion, politics, and all those things. I talk about those things a lot, and looking back, there's a reason. I know a lot of people that decide to stay asleep. They don't really like the stuff that I have to say, and sometimes my own mind will suggest for me to give up. My mind will tell me things like, will suggest that will tell me things like, well, you're not so popular. No one's not going to understand you. And I express these things in my other clips now. But, I had moments that I thought about, like, just basically, like, saying, forget it. But I'm not. Because, you see, my own head, okay, my own mind doesn't see far. I always talk about how the human mind can't see far. But because I've seen humanity evolve, okay, because I've seen it evolve, that's why I'm going about doing the things that I do online. Okay, some people might call me a prophet or some sort. I don't know. I don't really care about that, really. Whatever. I mean, I don't care about being labeled as rogue or basically radical or black sheep. I don't really care about all that. I just saying that because if I was somebody else, and if I would have read a lot of stuff in my tweets, for example, or on Facebook, or on YouTube now, on these audio clips, I would have said, wow, this person is pretty radical and stuff, and very strong convictions. So yeah, that's why I'm just saying these words. But overall, I don't really care. I'm just doing what I do, and that's it. I'm following my heart, and I know who I am, especially now these days. And I'm not walking around guessing about, I think I know who I am. No, I know who I am, and things become more clear to me. So yeah, I'm going to basically talk about different things. I'm going to talk about people basically empower themselves. Okay, so yeah. So when I talk about people empower themselves, yes, that's going to basically conflict with a lot of stuff that you grew up, right? I'm going to basically empower people about, for example, screw the idea about basically being a law-abiding citizen. Screw it. But somebody that's very traditionalist or very, let's just say, have moral values, you're going to hear that and say, this person is dangerous. Because your own head is narrow-minded for the moment, okay? And I did talk about the idea of basically what it is to basically be this law-abiding citizen. It's like, a lot of these, I look at the root of all these things. It is basically to try to control you. But this is the stuff that we all created in spirit. We created it. And nothing could really control us. I mean, a lot of stuff I see throughout humanity is a game. A lot of you just don't think that. Maybe a good number of you just don't naturally think that, probably. You just think that because you're so much in the game so much, you just think that's just life. And I'm saying it because I felt that way. There was a time for a while that I used to see things black and white. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just life. But I know there's a lot more to life than these things. I do. I'm just going to basically talk about people freeing themselves. Yeah, so, and I guess a lot of stuff I do talk about is about maybe, let's say if I was somebody else, I would say, oh, this person's trying to create an anarchy. If somebody say that to me, I'm going to say, and I know what it means, but I really don't care so much about these, again, like I was telling you about these labels. But if somebody asks me if I'm that I'm trying to create anarchy, I'm going to say, yes, I am. Yeah, I am. A lot of us, we could decide to be afraid of government. I mean, you created it, and you think that you just want to play the game, be afraid of government. I'm not. Because, see, I created those positions, too. See all those layers of government between a communist and capitalist government, all that. I created that too, just like you. I just made a decision that I'm not afraid. I'm just not part of the game no more. I'm just one of the beings within consciousness that I'm just going to basically change the whole game up. Actually, I already changed the whole game up. I'm just on the physical portion. It's just that I'm going through let's just say a slow motion before the game change. And when I say that I saw humans evolve, before I came to this world, in spirit, I've seen what I've done and how everything went down. I'm just basically going about it in the slow motion, or maybe turning one page or one chapter at a time. It's this. I know it might sound strange, but yeah, I'm definitely So I guess I am creating anarchy around the world, and no, I don't believe people should hurt one another. I don't believe in that stuff. And no, I don't believe in no civil war. That's just, to me, those things are just like, those ideas are beneath me, honestly. Those are just small ideas. I mean, it's an idea, but the thing I have in mind, like I always talk about, is basically a lot of us get together and build. It's just everybody working together. That's it. But you see, a lot of stuff I do talk about, and I'm going by feelings too. A lot of this, yeah, I do. I could say that if you're narrow-minded and you have a lot of these moral beliefs from your religion, faith, and everything, or you're very traditionalist, or you just believe in conventional ideas, I'm going to scare you. That's just it. So I guess maybe I am a black sheep, or radical, or rogue. I expressed that very thoroughly in 4th of July, how I just basically don't give a damn about the American flag, or all that story that we put together. I'm like, it's because I understand what life is really about. I know full well that my freedom is not bought by a flag or somebody fighting some sort of egotistic battle to say, yes, you're free. No, basically, freedom is my birthright. It's been, because I'm consciousness and we all consciousness, I always been free. There's no beginning, there's no end to that. So a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to scare a lot of people that's narrow-minded. But it's a test for me. Even though I've seen in spirit that I inspired billions and billions of people around the world, okay? On this point, on this time track, on the physical point, on the physical plane, it doesn't look like it. See, this is where my mind will come in and suggest to me that, Cressel, you're really crazy. You think people are going to basically buy into what you're saying? You think everyone's going to just, let go of these old traditional ideas and all that? So yeah, my mind's going to try to convince me in these levels. But again, this is where I come in, and I'm going to have to just basically believe, because I already saw it came down. So, it's that when I see humanity evolved already, it's like, it's not a happy ended story. One of those little short happy endings. No, this is like another chapter into something great. Because a lot of us, we are great. Each and every one of us, we have, I like to call it seed of abundance. That's what I like to call it. We are very rich in abundance. A lot of you, for momentarily, you just don't see that by choice. It's not like you don't see. You do. In spirit, you do. You're just playing this game. Like I always say things like that. It's a game. So yeah, my friend told me I'm a fighter. I have a fighting spirit. I don't like to choose the idea of fighting. Maybe, I guess, but I have the plan I have is to build and create. And that's it. before I came into this world, I've watched this world. I've seen a lot of wars and everything and all that, and I've seen the pattern with this, and I understand fully that this idea of war doesn't really do anything. Besides, and also nobody dies anyway. So, but that's why I want to do something different. I understand that if you want to change something, you want to change the world, everybody around this world, you know, it's about basically inspiring everybody, building people up. It's basically we're there for each other. That's just one of the, I guess I could say this now, that's just one of the best strategy in basically creating a better world. It's just building people up. You know, that's it. Because we're all consciousness. You know, we're there for each other, and you know, that's just it. You know, I'm just. I was talking to when I was talking to my friend, when she was telling me that I have a fighting spirit. I'm gonna mention names of this movie, okay? I normally don't like to mention names of stuff, products, or movies, whatever. Sometimes I do mention actually names of movies, but you know, when I was talking to my friend recently about this movie, Hunger Games, I watched the movie though, and it's so funny. I was talking to my friend of mine when we came out the movies. All right, we was looking at the latest poster of the final chapter of the Hunger Games. I'm like, it says Unite Revolution or something. I'm like, I look at that, I'm like, wow. Obviously, my plan is not actually like the movie. Obviously, what I saw in Spirit, how humanity evolved, is not like the movies. But I was telling my friend of mine, I'm like, you know, it's fascinating. A lot of people see this movie. If you really look at it, it's basically a message behind this movie. It's basically a message about basically, if you want to say anti-government, yeah. Or you call it anti-government from a capitalist or a communist point. But yeah, it's about one head that tries to control people by a military force and other stuff. I'm like, wow, this movie really mirrors America and other parts of the world. It's amazing. But this movie, so many people have seen this movie. And I was telling my friend of mine, I said, you know, it's so fascinating because you see, the stuff I do talk about, you know, and this is where sometimes, and I'm gonna be open and honest here. This is the point when I get caught into my head momentarily. Again, I do have my moments I get a little discouraged, but not like I'm going to give up. So to go back, what I was saying to my friend is like, you know, it's fascinating that this movie, it kind of parallels to my story. It does. Not saying it's exact in a sense, like, you know, but because my friend, you know, she was comparing me to this actress that does the whatchamacallit, the star of the movie, right, of Hunger Games. I said, you know, it's funny. I think about her, and I think about other characters that seems to inspire me. Not that I'm trying to be them, but the characters I seem to think about. Her, that character, and Neo. This other movie. I forgot the name of this other movie. Insurgent. I think it's called Insurgent. I don't know. It's another actress. It's the same type of, you know, those kind of movies, you know. And I think about these characters, and I line these characters up to me as Crusoe, and I'm like, wow, there are some common grounds of that, especially this character Neo. But anyway, it's like, it's funny. It's like, so to go back to Hunger Games, like, you know, people love seeing this movie, read the books. I haven't read the book though. But when I talk about the ideas on Twitter and all that, and you know, I'm putting, you know, ideas come up, because I always try to come up with ideas to inspire everybody. So I was telling my friend, like, you know, I post photos on Twitter about out of business on like different Capitol buildings and stuff like that, and basically just building people up, just inspiring everybody. It's like I just don't, especially when I talk about politics and stuff, like I don't feel a lot of people follow me. But it's funny. Here you have a movie that basically talks about revolutionizing the whole thing, right? In its own way. It's just that the message of that movie is basically, if you want to call it anti-government, okay, whatever. But it seems to parallel with my story in a sense, in some different degrees. Not exactly, okay, but and I'm not talking about the beginning point of the first part 1 and 2 in that movie. No, I'm just talking about like where it's coming to now, for example. But yeah, it's like wow, it's like I find it fascinating. I'm giving people a real life story, how everything basically envision how everything is gonna go down, and yet I see on a physical plane a lot of people, they don't seem to be very supportive of what I'm doing. It's very interesting, but they'll spend $10 to see a movie. What I'm trying to say is that you see, you have if you pay attention, there's different codes or message around you, right? That tells you something. That's talking to you, right? But you basically by choice, selectively choose to ignore certain things. Like you would think that the movie is like, oh, it's just a movie. It's nice. It's a nice fantasy to topple down a government, even though they built the government just doesn't come out of nowhere. It's an idea. But you see a movie to basically revolutionize and like removing the idea of government or whatever you call it, anarchy, whatever. You see a movie like that, but when it comes to the real deal, it's like it's fascinating with a lot of people. I was talking to a friend of mine. It's very fascinating. I'm like, wow. When it comes to the real thing, a lot of people won't just won't show up. It's amazing. But this is, again, I wanted to tell you, I get caught into my head because I keep focusing on what I'm seeing with my 2 eyes. I have to often go back and see things from the third eye. You could call it the pineal gland. In the human body, you have the pineal gland. You see things spiritually. In my other humanoid body, I don't recall having a pineal gland. It's just that that my other body is just built differently, let's just say. Okay, I'm able to see things. But anyway, it's fascinating. It's like, wow, It's like, why you think these movies exist? Think about it. And you think that it's just, a coincidence? Everybody, you see, ultimately, you're all freedom. Even when an idea that suggests that tries to control and spread fear, right? You see, when it tries to suggest, it's like you always free. Like nothing could basically tie you down. Nothing could tie consciousness down. That's it. So yeah, I just wanted to say, because I sometimes I feel a certain way, and for anybody, I want to also mention that for anybody that's when you believe in something, okay, whatever it is, all right, whatever you believe in something, and you feel like you're by yourself in a sense, you get that feeling, don't stop. Keep believing yourself. Envision something different. Stay away from the story, really, and I have to give myself that advice. Stay away from the story that the world is against you. My mind will suggest that. It's easy to stay there. I know. It is. But believe in yourself, If you want to do something different, if you want to change the scenery in terms of socializing with people, or maybe doing things differently online, then go for it. I often think about sometimes closing my Twitter account because I just want to move on. I've been thinking about it lately. I want to focus on my website. My book. I haven't finished my book. But I feel like my book is going to give so much detail. It's just, and I already saw that I already created my movie. These things I do envision, okay? Physically, it doesn't look like it's possible, or let's just say, you could say economically possible, but I have to remind myself who I am and that everything's possible. So if I put it out there already, that's been done, it's done. So yeah, I'm excited about my movie and I'm excited about my book. You know, I have to believe in myself. I have to. I can't, I love inspiring people, for example, on Twitter. I love it. It's, I guess to me, I was telling my friend of mine that it's quick, easy. I can just express stuff and then, just send it, and but I'm glad I thought about expressing these things to, to everyone on this part 11. And I really thought about it if I should. But yeah, this is a journal. This is my journal. So, and I'm not gonna give up. I mean, I can give up. I could change my mind altogether because there's endless amount of realities. There's endless amount of realities. There's a reality that Crystal reincarnated into a humanoid body, into this human body, and basically inspired billions and billions of people on this earth. And there's other different versions. I just choose this version for a reason. I just love the joy of consciousness rediscovering itself. That's the reason why I came to Earth. So you are all consciousness. And whether you are a traditionalist person or you want to be a good citizen to your political, whatever country you're from, if you want to be a good citizen or good, or be holy, whatever, if you want to walk that fine line, that's your choice. Your freedom. All I'm going to say is that I already envision people, consciousness within you, rediscover itself. I don't want to say itself, but rediscover self. Doesn't make sense, but I don't care. I don't have to call consciousness it. It's like, I don't know, I just thought about it. Rediscovering self. It's amazing. Who make the rules of English language? You got different languages. Who say that this is the way the language is supposed to be spoken? I could break the rules and talk any way I want. I could talk slang. I give a darn about grammar. I'm like, who's the one that say ultimately this is the way it's supposed to be, like the top of the line, like whatever. I laugh about a lot of ideas that we create, the rules that we put on ourselves. It's just so funny. But I just wanted to create part 11 on this, just to myself and to everybody. Follow your heart, okay? Don't worry about being Mrs. or Mr. Popular. If you feel like people don't get you for a moment, don't worry about it. Just envision it. Okay, remember, each and every one of you are creators. All right? Don't give up. But if you decide to give up, okay, it's your choice. You can give up and then come back. It's up to you. I'm just not going to give up. I just right now, I don't see myself giving up at all. Because I'm going to stick with the version of myself inspiring billions and billions of people around this world. So, So again, if I'm a black sheep, radical, rogue, if I'm falling to these groups, okay, whatever. Try to create anarchy. Yep. Yeah, I am. I'm creating anarchy for inspiring people to work together to basically acknowledge who you are. So at least be aware that that you are in control of your own life, and that nobody could control you. So yeah, seeing everybody working side by side. So shifting out of old ideas, just building something different. That's what it's all about. That is my movie, everybody. That is my movie. So anyway, I had to use Hunger Games for example because I find it fascinating how that movie seems to parallel a little bit to my story. But again, in some areas, not all of it. But anyway, yeah, I know everybody's participating in seeing that movie. It's great. Again, pay attention, everybody. You know, these things, these movies, these type of movies just don't come up for like by mistake. You see, there's a deeper spirit within all this. It's speaking to you. It's inside of you. It's just basically telling you to wake the hell up. That's it. It'll just tell you to wake the hell up in all different levels. So me, I have my own bit of a style. I have my own bit of a style telling you to wake the hell up. So, but anyway, okay. Until then, I will be back for part 12. As always, I don't know what I'm going to express, but I will be back for part 12. Take care.